you'll find there is no human being that gained more than me. With my wits, I managed to expand Shinra, a company that only started off by producing weapons, to the size it is today. Discovering the possibilities of the uses of Mako energy and developing the Mako reactors that drew the energy out was the turning point. The Mako provided power to the public, raising their standards of life and also making them my slaves. After getting their hands on such a life of convenience, it became something like an addictive drug to the ignorant people and took over their minds. And we, the Shinra that controlled that energy, expanded the scale of our company in an instant. With some simple advertising, we could gather all the top talents we wanted. Dreams of planning the construction of a metropolis, a space exploration program. They would all do it. All for me. I could use them. They served me like servants to a king. The public couldn't see what was happening. Even the media that drove the public could only follow Shinra's command as we monopolized the Mako energy. Shinra had taken over the country, and I had ascended to a throne from which no one would ever criticize me no matter what I did. I could trample all the fools, have unlimited wealth, and dictate as the ruler of the world. I wouldn't mind living a longer life, but never mind that. So, what do you think, Ancient? Do you understand which of our lives gained more now? Or rather, how miserable your life was?
Maybe.
The happiness he spoke of was all relative things. He wanted to be in a position where he had more gain than anyone else. As a result of that, Shinra Incorporated's thoughts of absorbing the planet's life remained with him even now. He was like a helpless soul that couldn't feel happiness any more than those that were less fortunate than him could. She had no intentions of pointing that out. If that was the end point of his satisfaction, then it couldn't be helped. He couldn't take his hands off the wealth he had scraped together, and like rubbish, it was rotting away, releasing a stench. As if stuck in a drain, the ugly old man didn't know that he wasn't freed from the misery of his ambitions even after dying. Always seeking for someone to compare himself with, the president was dissatisfied seeing how responseless Aerith was.
It was so foolish of me to compare myself to such a stupid human. I'm not in a good mood. I'm pretty annoyed. Leave quickly if you don't understand what I'm saying.
I'll do that.
This old man couldn't be saved. On the throne where his desires rotted drifting away, he was going to remain there until he reached the end of his long years and his ego disappeared. Just when Aerith turned her back towards President Shinra and was about to return on her journey, something strange happened. A strange wave separated from the livestream, rushed into the sea of Mako, shaking it violently. It was an ominous wave like a great pulse.
What is this?
Hearing the screams of the old man, Aerith spun around. All she could see was the figure of the president being drawn away into the distance. The speed picked up extremely fast. He wasn't on a current. The old man was dragged away as if he was caught by gravity, picking up speed as he dropped. He was heading somewhere in the Sea of Mako, drawn away. Leaving a long trailing scream of terror behind, President Shinra disappeared. Aerith felt the pulse again. She knew what it was clearly this time. It was the same wave of the one who ended her life in the Forgotten City. That man was lurking somewhere in the life stream.
Sephiroth.
The silver-haired apostate angel smiled thinly as if taking away the wicked souls to hell. This time, Aerith knew the danger wasn't over. The holy she had summoned was being suppressed just as it was about to work. The planet Scar from long ago. Sephiroth was in the northern crater that was Genova's promised land, waiting for the moment when he would be reborn as his original self. The ultimate destructive black magic meteor was on the move. The devil's hammer that would descend from the distant heavens to smash the planet was summoned. Cloud was falling into the life stream. He wasn't falling into it as the dead, or as a soul. He was falling into the sea of Mako alive, in his living body. He was going to pass out. In the northern crater, he found out that his memories were false. He was just a doll who the mad scientist Hojo had transplanted Genova cells into, a being made to merge with Sephiroth for his resurrection. But as a failure, he was an inferior clone that wasn't even given a number. He was thrown out like trash in Midgar. Then he met Tifa. He met his real childhood friend, Tifa Lockhart. That time, with Genova's power to duplicate memories, the memories that Tifa had of Cloud were instantly transferred to him. The missing parts were then filled with his own memories of being a soldier to complete it all. That was how the patched-up personality of Cloud Strife, based on the young man that existed in Tifa's consciousness, was born. While that Cloud held many contradictions about himself, he built up a fictitious character so that he wouldn't be doubtful of himself. However, the disguise was going to be stripped away. It started to fail a long time ago. After coming into contact with many Sephiroth clones, the residents inside Cloud's consciousness uncovered many suspicions. Not long after Aerith's death, the dam he had built holding back his suspicions started to overflow. Using the anger he had towards Sephiroth and the goals he had in mind, he somehow managed to suppress it. But that only lasted until he met the original Sephiroth. In the northern crater before Sephiroth, who had Genova at his core, Cloud's brittle character fell apart. Right after that, even his consciousness came under his control as Cloud himself handed over the key to summoning Meteor, the Black Materia. Cooperating with the one enemy he hated and being made to turn against his own goal of stopping Meteor, Cloud's character completely collapsed. His false mosaic ego shattered into pieces, and in his empty consciousness, only the despair of how he was nothing but a failed Sephiroth clone remained. And so, now no longer of use, Cloud crossed into the planet through the northern crater, swept away into the life stream. With his ego lost, what was going to happen if the highly concentrated Mako, containing the aggregated memories of the planet, entered his system? He was like a dried-up sponge soaking up a liquid. His blank consciousness and vast, nonsensical memories were all going to be buried away. This state, in which someone was expected to be extremely intoxicated, was commonly referred to as Mako poisoning. With his mind being infringed beyond the point of recovery, Cloud floated within the lifestream. Before long, his living body that shouldn't be in the lifestream was ejected through one of the natural Mako energy geysers into the nearby coast of Midil. With his character lost, he was now a crippled person in confusion. Aerith knew one of the reasons why there was a place that the lifestream couldn't approach. That place had a barrier that Sephiroth set up. The calamity that fell from the sky, Genova, brought with it a meteor that created an enormous scar on the planet due to its impact. Now, that place, where lots of energy was gathering to heal the scar, had become a cradle for Sephiroth's resurrection. The flows of life all around were drawn into the unnatural swirl, preventing a discarnate entity like Aerith from approaching it. Aerith was eager to talk to Cloud as his living body flowed out of the swirl. She had been trying to while his body was being carried to Midil. But with his mind shattered and filled with despair, Cloud couldn't hear Aerith's voice. No matter how much she cried out, her voice wouldn't reach Cloud, just like the time when they were separated in the Forgotten City. Helplessly watching Cloud's body return to the surface, Aerith stood in the sea of Mako, in dismay.
How can I save Cloud? How can I stop Meteor? I didn't think that Holy would be held back. At this rate, the planet's going to end up the way Sephiroth wants it. What can I do? Tell me, Cloud!
Aerith cried as she thought about the shattered Cloud that even her prayers wouldn't reach. His wrecked character could no longer be fixed. If he wasn't Cloud in the first place, then who was he? Knowing him only as a former member of Soldier, there was no way she could guess. She embraced the feeling of helplessness that she couldn't put into words.
Cloud, I want to meet you. The real you.
Her whispers and thoughts became expanded into waves and spread out in the Mako. Her memories of being with Cloud came to mind again. Her impression was that even though he wasn't very social, there was some cheerfulness about him.
I felt something odd about him. But was everything really just made up and part of his false character? Was there anything real about Cloud at all? No. That can't be true. There were things that only Cloud could think of. Things that he did because he was Cloud. There's no such thing as a completely empty person.
But she couldn't figure out the truth. Her thoughts just went in circles. Aerith delved into her memories again. Memories that showed Cloud's individuality, the way he walked. She remembered all his actions, one by one. Most of those thoughts merged into the Sea of Mako and awakened a character.